A hit and run just off campus led to a search for the driver on campus as police closed off the Annenberg building.
A USC basketball coach is one of 4 coaches arrested for fraud and bribery.
And a new documentary featuring Annenberg is premiering tonight. We talked to the film's producer about why she chose USC. Annenberg TV News is next.
Live from USC, you're watching Annenberg TV News.
Right there on the corner of the building, onto the grass, and ran northeast that way towards Jefferson and Fig.
DPS and CHP officers surrounded Annenberg looking for a hit-and-run suspect. A suspect is in custody after he fled from the scene of an accident near USC. Good evening, I'm Will Farnsworth.
And I'm Brittany Hope. You may have heard the sirens and seen the helicopters this morning. Annenberg Media's Aton Wallace was at the scene of the crash and joins us now with the latest. Aton?
Well, Brittany and Will, it all began with a hit-and-run accident at the intersection of Jefferson and Hoover, but it didn't end there. As part of a massive search, CHP and DPS temporarily closed Annenberg to search for the suspect.
Students arrived on campus today to find this. CHP and DPS officers actively searching for a hit-and-run suspect.
A little incident, a disturbance, you could say.
It all began at 7:25 this morning. Just north of campus, CHP tried to pull over the driver of this white pickup for apparently running a red light. When he refused, the pursuit was on. And then, the inevitable.
Shortly after that pursuit began, the suspect crashed into another vehicle over the median here at the intersection of Jefferson and Hoover. And as for the victim of that other car, well, she blames the suspect, but she also blames law enforcement.
The police has a lot of fault for this accident.
Why?
Because they was follow him and he don't care about the people, right? He don't care about me.
After the accident, DPS said the driver ran onto campus and hid in the Annenberg building at Watt and Hellman Way. It all unfolded right in front of students.
He ran that way, and then cops and a dog followed him.
The gentleman ran up the second stories into the building. They wouldn't let me in because they quarantined the area.
Our officers, along with the Highway Patrol, formed a perimeter about the building and began searching for the suspect.
The suspect hid there for an hour and a half before this.
The gentleman actually jumped off the roof and he ran.
He ran just south of campus and police took him into custody here at the Exposition Park Rose Garden. And back at Annenberg, DPS gave the all clear shortly after 9. Students seemed unfazed.
Cops seem to have it under control. There's a lot, so I feel safe.
It's just another day at USC.
The California Highway Patrol tells Annenberg Media the suspect is a parolee. Now, as for the driver in the other car, well, she complained about feeling some back pain, but added her primary concern was for her 12-year-old son who was in the back seat. He was not hurt. Brittany?
Thanks, Aton. Students were stopped from entering the Annenberg School of Communication building today after the hit-and-run suspect was spotted on the building's security footage.
Just this woman over here, she was very friendly and just told me that I couldn't go into the building at that time, so now I have to wait. I also had to go to the larger Annenberg building to print a few things out.
At class at 9.
So what were you told when you got?
Dad, I can't get in yet and to wait out around and they'll let me know when we can enter the building.
While classes were not formally canceled, students and faculty were not allowed into the building. DPS sent out a Trojan alert and email shortly after 9 a.m. saying police activity on campus was over and classes resumed as normal.
USC's assistant men's basketball coach is on administrative leave tonight, accused of accepting bribes from sports agents. He was in a Florida court this morning in handcuffs and ankle chains. He did not enter a plea and said he needs a lawyer.
Anthony Bland described what he could do for the managers and advisors this way, quote, "I can definitely mold the players and put them in the lap of you guys."
A 2-year FBI investigation uncovered that assistant coaches from 4 top-tier schools were part of a bribery scheme where they accepted money from agents and branding companies to persuade players to choose which teams to play for. USC's Stony Bland was among 10 people arrested. USC's athletic director Lynn Swann released a statement saying, quote, "We were shocked to learn this morning through news reports about the FBI investigation and arrests related to NCAA basketball programs, including the arrest of USC assistant coach Tony Bland." He adds, quote, "If these allegations are true, we will take the needed actions." USC has recruited former FBI Director Louis J. Freeh to conduct an internal investigation of the basketball program.
The Medical Board of California has suspended the license of former Keck School Medicine Dean Carmen Puliafito. It's part of the ongoing investigation into his alleged drug use. Here's what we learned about the case from the Medical Board of California. The suspension was a voluntary agreement made between the medical board and former Dean Puliafito that will last until the case is over. After the LA Times broke the story, the California Medical Board decided to open their investigation in Puliafito. The medical board will determine whether Puliafito is fit to practice medicine. He could also face criminal charges.
The LA County Department of Public Health has started a campaign called It's More Than a Bite to raise awareness about West Nile virus. The deadly disease is transmitted by mosquito bites. Health officials reported Monday that 7 have died from the virus and 98 have been infected. Most of the cases are concentrated in the San Fernando Valley. Experts recommend wearing bug spray at dawn and dusk when mosquitoes are most active.
President Trump announced that he will be visiting Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands next week. This comes 1 week after a hurricane ravaged the region. Hurricane Maria devastated both places. The storm has left over 3.4 million residents without power, and the islands continue to suffer from food and water shortages. Flights off the island are difficult to get and roads remain blocked by debris. Trump says going any earlier will disrupt relief efforts. And Saudi Arabia's Ministry of Foreign Affairs announced a new royal decree allowing women to legally drive. Nearly half of the country's population will finally be able to hit the road. Many on Twitter celebrated this big day for the advancement of Saudi women's rights. One woman tweeted, quote, "I lived in Saudi Arabia for 10 years. There are miles to go for women's equality, but the king's decision to let women drive is a huge step." A Saudi man who lives in the country then tweeted, quote, "I congratulate every woman in my country, Saudi Arabia, for the huge progress and for more progress in the future. Hashtag Saudi women, hashtag women driving." This historic decision was made to help transform the country's economy by giving more women the ability to work. The Saudi government says the new decree will go into effect by June 2018.
A new study says California students graduate with less student debt than students from most other states.
That I see on TV every day,
USC alum
and
is
each
featured in a new
internship that I've had has
documentary
prepared me in
about
some way
workforce.
for.
We'll take you live to see the premiere to see what it's all about.
And hundreds of homes were evacuated as a wildfire continues to burn out of control.
So good to see you guys. So, what's up?
Oh, we finally bought a place.
Holy cow.
You seriously have enough saved to do that? We've been putting a little aside each month.
Jeez, at the end of the month, we have nothing left to save.
Yeah, I have no idea where it goes.
Well, you're spending a lot on...
Is it good?
Oh, God.
Oh, how is my account overdrawn?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
That's low, that's low. That's low.
Look, he's blushing.
What do you think it would be like to teach? Chances are, you have no idea.
Turn the lights and everybody look up.
Teachers today are breaking down obstacles, finding innovative ways to instill old lessons, proving that greatness can be found in everyday places, and that you don't need to be famous to be unforgettable. That's what it's like to teach.
A panel of media recruiters and Annenberg faculty is speaking about the future of jobs in the industry. Reporter Trevor Sohaki is live in the Wallace Annenberg Hall lobby. Trevor?
I would add, this would be the request with me dismissed for the heard this is imagination.
That's right, Will. I'm live here in the USC Annenberg lobby where they just finished up a panel with professionals from Hulu, Netflix, and AOL where they discussed how the media landscape is changing and how students can keep up with that landscape. In fact, they're actually doing a Q&A right now, as you can see behind me, with those same professionals. They have questions from the crowd coming in, and they're just discussing how students can prepare themselves for a life after college. After that panel, they then screened the movie The Future of Work in Media, which showed how USC, specifically Annenberg, is changing its career readiness program to prepare its students for that same life after college. It showed a featured USC student and alum, and the film's producer, which I spoke to later, on why USC was chosen and how to get a job in this ever-changing media landscape.
Before I graduated, I was filmed by this documentary crew about my job search process. My job as an executive producer for ATVN, I think, definitely prepared me for my job now. I'm working in a job now where I work odd hours, but I'm doing all the things that I learned at school, and I'm using all the skills that I learned at school.
Success comes in all shapes and sizes, and Eli is articulate, smart, dedicated, really hardworking. We saw this program as a leader guiding. Other universities and other colleges should follow this style of teaching and style of training.
As you can see behind me, they actually just finished up this Q&A. They just wrapped it up here. But I also later spoke to Suzanne Alcantara, the Director of Career Development here at USC Annenberg, who has been crucial in helping students get jobs for college and helping students prepare themselves for that life in this media landscape and helping students get to know their employers and get used to what employers want. She told me that this social media and this digital age have really affected jobs in terms of jobs that have gone away, but also new jobs that are approaching this new graduating class.
From a trend standpoint, social media and work in the social space is certainly growing tremendously. A lot of the jobs, certainly in journalism, are in that social media space and creating digital content. I think that's also true for our comm students. A lot of them want to work in marketing. I think we are giving students such a leg up on understanding the industries and making connections in those industries.
The film was produced by the nonprofit campaign Working Media, which also featured 9 other schools around the country who have been changing their programs, just like here at USC, to fit students' preparedness for college and preparedness for the life after college. These 9 other schools have been changing their media programs just like USC, and they're ready for college just like everyone else. Reporting live from USC Annenberg lobby, I'm Trevor Sohaki. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Trevor. And a new national study of student loan debt says graduates from California colleges leave school owing less money than almost anywhere else in the country.
It's very important. USC believes it's very important to have a very diverse class. So USC has made the commitment to meet a student's full demonstrated need. So that helps to make sure that cost is not the only factor that the family has to consider and doesn't get in the way of a student's goals and aspirations. Admissions does seek to have a diverse class, and that includes socioeconomic diversity.
According to the Institute for College Access and Success, the average debt for a student graduating from California public and private colleges is over $22,000. 41% of USC undergrads completed their bachelor's owing an average of $27,000, and students who graduated from colleges in the Northeast and Midwest tended to have debt much higher.
When I was choosing colleges, I got into a few other schools as well as USC, and USC wasn't my first choice. But once I got my financial aid packages and I got to see USC almost always was double what the other schools were offering. And the other schools were comparable in cost of attendance, so it was really not even a choice between the other schools and USC.
I think that it's a great university with a lot of
good professors, financial aid, and resources for helping making science.
The reason why California's student debt is one of the lowest in the country is because more students go to public universities, which costs less, and California offers more grant money. Now, you know, Will, I'm lucky because I was up in San Francisco this weekend. I heard it got pretty hot down here in Southern California.
You know, cool NorCal weather, but hot again in Southern California. Taylor Elliott, she's got the weather.
Thanks, Will. You guys are right. While it may be cool in the Bay, it's starting to heat up again here in LA. Let's take a look at our current conditions. Right now, we're at about 77 degrees out with just a slight breeze. And now looking at tomorrow, in the mountains, we're going to be slightly cooler at around 65 degrees, with the heat picking up in the desert at around 93. And in the valley, it's going to stay in the 80s with around 89 degrees in Thousand Oaks and cooling down a little bit on the coast at 74 degrees in Malibu. Now looking back here at USC tomorrow, we're going to be at a nice 88 degrees, so pretty warm. So sorry, Brittany, but you can't bring your sweater to morning classes. Now looking at our 5-day forecast, looks like we're going to have to brace the heat for a little while longer. We'll be in the upper 80s up until Saturday with a slight drop on Sunday to 81 degrees. The high heat and increased winds have caused a wildfire to break out on the Corona-Anaheim border in Orange County. The Corona Canyon fire that began along the Riverside Freeway has grown to 2,000 acres. It has grown rapidly since Monday afternoon and as of right now is only about 5% contained. While no injuries have been reported, one home has been damaged. Neighborhoods in Corona were evacuated and nearly 1,500 residents were forced from their homes. Firefighters are still battling the blaze, but hope to lift evacuation orders later today. Man, with the heat just comes these more wildfires. And Brittany, I know you're from Southern California. Did you have anyone in the area?
Right. Luckily, you know, I didn't have anyone in the area. My family's more in the valley, but it seems like since June, July, fires have just been hitting Southern California and even up in NorCal as well. It's nuts.
Exactly.
Scary situation, but Election Day is just 6 weeks away. Students from the Unruh Political Institute at USC think all young people should be politically engaged.
More people need to register to vote because we're in a time now where we've never been as divided, we've never been as angry at each other and as unwilling to listen to each other's opinions on different sides of the aisle. So now I think is more than ever just to show that even if I disagree with you, that you're engaged.
Representatives from the Unruh Institute registered students to vote on campus today in honor of National Voter Registration Day. The Institute's director said it is important that young people stay engaged no matter who they supported in the last election.
It is critical for students to vote. You can't get discouraged if you're anti-Donald Trump, for example, by the results of 2016. And if you're pro-Donald Trump, you can't just walk away and say, I'm done, I'm not going to participate.
According to the Pew Research Center, millennials cast 25% of the votes in the 2016 election. Now, Pete, Trojans, they took it to 4-0 on the road last week. Will they take it to 5-0 this week?
I think they have a good chance, and thanks for letting me know, guys. We have more in-depth information and analysis regarding the NCAA investigation and what steps USC will take internally. USC football is back on the road here this Friday as they'll travel to Washington State, where there are some key starters who might not be suiting up because of the injury bug. The women's volleyball team has continued success as a unit this past weekend, but we'll highlight a pair of players who had career best performances. Don't go anywhere, sports are next.
If you store your guns properly, I'll feel safer when I'm playing outside.
Safer when walking home.
I won't have to tell so many family members. I'm sorry.
I won't hear as many scary stories.
And I won't have to tell my kids this isn't a drill.
Please.
Please, do it for us.
Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Never let your gun get into the wrong hands. Remember, always, lock it up. Visit ncpc.org.
Yes, I am. Give it to him hard.
No. Every day, kids witness bullying.
Why are you stabbing me with it? No.
They want to help, but don't know how. Teach your kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
To Maddie, congrats on paying off all those student loans.
Finally, right?
How'd you manage that anyway?
I started tracking my spending, changed a couple of habits.
Wow, I'm kind of living paycheck to paycheck right now. I don't even know how I'm doing it.
Well, have you tried saving a little?
I want to, but where's that money gonna come from? Bill collectors, they're the worst. Am I right?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind.
Not home.
Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
The sports world was alarmed to hear about 4 college basketball coaches in the bribery cases today, but over the last few hours, we've learned more about how USC will handle their own situation. Here's a statement from USC Vice President for Athletic Compliance, Mike Blanton, quote, "We have hired former FBI Director Louis J. Free and his firm Free Group International Solutions to work with us in conducting an internal investigation into this matter so that we can take action quickly and appropriately." We also interviewed Dan Durbin on his stance.
It would be unfair to Lynn or to anybody else if they had nothing to do with it, had no possible way of knowing that it was going on, if you held them accountable for something that one rogue renegade assistant coach did.
The NCAA likes to see that you're self-sanctioning, that you're taking steps to repair this, that this isn't an institutional control problem. And I think one of the ways that you do that is coming out as forcefully as you can once the investigation becomes public, which is what USC is doing right now.
Mike Blanton stated that the school has started an internal investigation and that Blanton has been placed on administrative leave. The possible consequences for the basketball program could range anywhere from between scholarship revocation, loss of eligibility, and postseason bans. The Trojans may have a perfect record through 4 games, but their health has been far from perfect as the injury list continued to grow this week.
It would be unfair to
one of the
Lynn.
toughest guys on the roster, is still dealing with a fractured toe and bicep strain, while number 2 receiver Stephen Mitchell sat out yesterday's practice with a groin injury. A new injury that could really hurt the Trojans offense is standout receiver Deontay Burnett, who injured his shoulder in the win against California. Here's the latest report from Coach Helton.
I need to try to have them fresh for this Friday nighter. Really try to keep them healthy. We're a banged up football team right now. We're right there on the line of, I know talking to Dan the other night, just trying to be physical, but also trying to be smart, and there's a fine line between that. I thought the kids handled it very well today.
USC will need to heal up quickly when they face arguably their toughest opponent of the year so far in Luke Falk and the undefeated Washington State Cougars. Falk has thrown 14 touchdowns and just 1 interception, but the Trojans' defense will be the best he's faced so far. We'll find out who moves to 5-0 this Friday night. The USC women's volleyball team is coming off their 3rd straight win after beating Oregon State 3-1 on Sunday. Near-pace 20th ranked Troy with 20 kills, while senior opposite hitter Brittany Abercrombie added 18 kills herself. Abercrombie was named Pac-12 Offensive Player of the Week, while junior libero Victoria Garrick won the Conference Defensive Player of the Week award. Abercrombie was a hitting machine against Oregon State and UCLA, while Garrick had a career-high 10 assists in Westwood. So guys, big news in the USC allegations front. A little bit worrisome because I'm a huge Trojan fan, and hopefully we don't get banned from postseason play.
It's kind of a scary week for the Trojans with the basketball scandal, and we're on high upset alert against Washington State. I just hope we can make it out of Pullman alive Friday night.
I agree.
Right. It's been a little nutty for USC publicity lately, so we'll see what ends up happening. Thanks so much, Pete.
Thanks, guys.
Visitors.
We'll bring you more on this special moment. And we'll hear.
Listen to me. I am captain of the track team. And if I'm late,
she doesn't really think she's going to get out of here, does she?
Be nice. She's new. Hello, is anyone there? Ugh!
Wow. Even from our standards, you look awful.
Oh, sweetie, what happened? Me? My friend Becky got to talk to this super cute boy, and I tried to act like I wasn't jealous, but I so totally was. And then out of nowhere, this concrete barrier just popped up. Maybe it was a semi. You mean you were driving? Yeah. I mean, I know the whole eyes on the road thing, but this was a super important text. Maybe you have to know, Becky.
Texting? Great.
But it was only like 5 seconds, and I'm a really, really fast texter, so it wasn't even a big deal. Actually, has she texted me back yet? Wow, I get like no bars in this place. I wonder if they have Wi-Fi here.
So I got this new family, and I don't know what it is about this one, but she can't seem to put down that toy all day long. Tap, 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 tap. Oh, and she even talks to it. She talks to that more than she talks to him. What's up, bro? Nice shirt. Who's she talking to? Her mom? She talks to her mom a lot.
Let's check back in with Trevor at the Working Nation panel.
Hey guys, I'm live here at the USC Annenberg lobby. I'm joined by Talia Williams, who is a recruiter for Netflix, and Nandita Vaswani, who is a communications student here at USC. So, Talia, what does Netflix look for when making new hires?
Yeah, I mean, I think for Netflix, and I'm new to that company, and I think broadly in my time at CNN in general, it's that curiosity factor, especially for us at a place like Netflix. It's that interest and passion and engagement around what it is you want to do, knowing that you guys coming out of school have so many capabilities and tools that it's narrowing it down and focusing it in the moment to know what you can drive that passion into.
Awesome. And Nandita, what did you learn from today's panel?
I think I definitely learn a lot, having so many people from different companies talk about what's important. The hard skill versus the soft skill was something really great to learn about, especially because a lot of them are recruiters, and they actually said how important internships are, how important experience is. It's not just about school, your college, your GPA, and it was really nice to actually hear the things that they look for in a candidate, that they look for in their interviews, and things that really matter.
Gotcha. So, Talia, how has the media landscape changed over the past 5-10 years that you've been in it?
Sure. I mean, what's changed is what's happening right here in school, and you all are being equipped with so many skills and tools, and at the same time, the industry around us has really broadened. Your options are so vast around where you can go and how you can take your career, and that's an awesome benefit, but that's also something where you guys have to make more choices than we did when I graduated from Annenberg. There was a lot more clarity.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. Live from the Annenberg lobby, I'm Trevor Sahaki.
Thanks, Trevor. And 2 baby monkey mandrills made their public debut today at the LA Zoo. These are the first baby monkeys at the zoo in over 40 years, and folks at the LA Zoo hope the birth of these mandrills will strengthen the gene pool of a vulnerable species whose habitat is shrinking as a result of hunting and deforestation. Thanks for watching Annenberg TV News. From everyone at Annenberg Media, I'm Brittany Hope.
And I'm Will Farnsworth. You can watch us on the web at uscannenbergmedia.com. Good night.